And now it's my turn. Do you ever get the feeling that nobody's listening when it comes to information security? That no matter how many breaches are in the news, your own organization just isn't changing their less than secure ways? That even with a huge uptick in security certifications, salaries, and job openings, you just can't get anyone at your company to care? I'll tell you why. You're going to die. I'm sorry to do this so close to the holidays, but the fact is that you're going to die. And you and everyone you know. Everyone. I mean, not right now, obviously, but eventually. So does this scare you? Are you going to change the way you live your life? Maybe just stay home and have cocktails until the end is nigh? Of course not. And that's the problem with security. Human beings' brains aren't designed to dwell on fear and doom for very long. We can't. If we did, we'd all sit at home and have cocktails until our eventual end came. We simply can't remain on a level of high alert all the time, and we really aren't designed to contemplate far-off doom. But security conversations always seem to start with fear. You're going to get hacked. You'll be in the news. You'll lose millions. You'll lose your job. Look, it happened to all these other companies and even their CEOs. It'll happen to you. But it's just like dying. We all know intellectually that we're eventually going to shuffle off this mortal coil, but we just can't dwell on it. Our brains don't let us envision it as an impending reality. Even though people pass away every day all around us, we really can't focus in on the fact that it'll happen to us someday too. It's that same basic brain architecture that prevents us from responding to dire information security threats. Yeah, we know what's happening. We know intellectually that we're vulnerable, but our brains just can't quite let us believe that it'll happen to us. And the other problem is that security always involves compromises. More secure often means less convenient or even less functional. And we don't like less convenient, and we don't like less functional. But convenience and functionality are very much in the here and now, while security remains this vague, far-off threat that our brains can't quite capture. So how do you change the conversation about security? How can we make it actionable and approach it in a way that our brains won't tune out? Well, one way is to not focus on security as a thing that we can achieve or as a threat that might eventually happen. Don't talk about security the way we eventually talk about dying. Instead, make security a topic that's more like living. Living is something we all do every day, so we don't have to imagine it. Security isn't an end game. It's a process, something that happens all the time. But you have to decide to make that process a part of your life and to engage in it every day, just like breathing. And to do that, you and your organization are first going to have a very open and honest conversation. It's much like the conversation we sometimes have to have with our parents when they get older. Mom, Dad, you're going to kick it someday, and we need to acknowledge that. Let's get the right paperwork and plans in place to deal with it. Let's put this on the table and talk about it, no matter how uncomfortable it is. Same thing with security. You've got to acknowledge that none of us can really focus on why we're doing security because our brains won't let us. We have to decide to do it for the sake of doing it. We're not engaging in security to fend off some unseen threat down the road. We're being more secure because we want to. And if your organization can come to that agreement, you'll be on the right track. If not, well, maybe you should be looking for a new organization. Of course, that's just my perspective. I look forward to hearing yours. Drop me a tweet at ConcentratedDon. And that brings us to the end of our show. Thanks for joining us, and I look forward to speaking with you again next month. And if you'd like to contact us in the meantime, drop us a note on Twitter, either at Pluralsight or at ConcentratedDon. Happy holidays, and have a wonderful and prosperous new year.